Well, I think let's things going. If other folk come on, that's fantastic. If they don't, we're going to have a great meeting amongst the 7 of us, 8 of us. So let's just kick things off. So welcome, Brian. Yeah, I think you were saying first time with us this morning. So pleased to have you on board, and just disappointed that you know people like Trevor Kettler. I mean, we thought we got rid of most of his friends, but what can you do? We've got to work with what you get, So yeah, let's maybe let's just for Brian's sake more than anything else, let's just have a quick whip around and just introduce each other, and so we know who's on board, and then we can start digging in a bit more detail. So Trevor Kettler, let's start with you.
Okay, so morning everybody. So for Brian's sake, I'm also the founder of the Midrand Community Chamber, which is part of the FOURWAYS. Business-wise, I'm a business relations strategist and quite busy at the moment because we're getting people from being effectors to experts. Effector being someone who just goes with the stimuli and the environment. And it's quite strange and quite sad also that you get, like, for instance, estate agents selling masks and sanitizers. So those are the people who are watering down their brand. And yeah, so that's what I do, is get people to be experts in their field. And we'll talk a bit later about that.
Great, thanks, Trevor. Jesper, let's get across to you.
Hi, everybody. As a family, we have a guest house and a conference center. I'm a co-founder of the chamber with Trevor and Ivan and the other people. The founder of a community bank. And I'm excited to see where the new technology is taking us when, because of this lockdown, we are no longer tied down to a specific location as FOURWAYS. All of a sudden, South Africa has opened up to us, and the world has opened up to us. So I see that as the future.
Great, thanks, Jesper. Dawn and Alex, let's go across to you.
I'm Dawn Olafia. Our company is called Designs. We're in the retail and exhibition market. We design and manufacture for both those markets. And as everyone knows, our industry now has come to a grinding halt. We don't foresee the exhibition industry taking effect until 2021, because a lot of our exhibitors are also international, so therefore travel's not going to happen. And being a member of the FOURWAYS Community Chamber, we're working on some very exciting, we've now put up a virtual exhibition, trade fair, which is next month, and a very exciting prospects now.
Great.
Yeah. I obviously work with my mom in the business, but I'm more involved on e-com and online sort of ventures, and all the graphics and everything goes along with that.
Great, thanks, Alex. Pierre, let's come across to you. Pierre, are you with us? Okay, looks like Pierre might be struggling with his mic. So Irene, let's go across to you while wait for Pierre. There's Pierre. Okay. Got to plug your ears in, Pierre. Otherwise you can't hear us talk. So, do you want to tell us? Are you with us, Pierre? Can you hear me? Are you muted?
Hi, everyone.
There you go. Yeah. Do you want to just introduce yourself and what you're busy with?
Okay, my name is Pierre Grobelaar from Pro Anchor. At the moment, we do safety screens for, and also sanitizer stands for the COVID-19 essential services. Mainly our business is stainless steel balustrading and also steelworks for now at the moment.
Great, thanks, Pierre. Irene?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Irene. I'm also with Dawn from Designs. We're also part of the exhibition industry, as which Dawn has said has come to a grinding halt. But we're working closely with the FOURWAYS Community Chamber on doing virtual online events, and that's where the future's going. Good morning, and nice to meet everybody.
Thanks, Irene. Right, Brian, you've heard from the other folk, most of them anyway, so maybe let's hear about you and what you're doing.
Good morning, Ivan, and the rest of you. Sorry, I haven't heard from Ivan what he's doing yet, but I'm sure we'll hear about him just now. Good morning, and great to meet with all of you this morning. Only guy I've known before is obviously Trevor, because we do work together in the Northwest Parks. My main business is called Compliance Verification Solutions, and we're an IT business developing and producing cloud-based technologies. We're not your typical IT business, so we don't do sites. We can, but we don't do site support. We don't do Microsoft products. We specifically develop our own solutions, and we've been taking these to market for a number of years. The type of thing that we do is, for instance, for sandparks, where they use our system to manage all the honorary ranges and all their documentation. And we do the online training courses, we do the time recording, etc. And our business pivot in this time has been that we've developed a solution to help businesses to open quicker by providing an online monitoring of visitors to their site. So currently, businesses that are open, when you visit, you have to fill in a logbook, you have to record what they do, where you are from, and then they take your temperature and they record that. But that's all on paper, and it's all using someone else's dirty pen, and it's exposing you to the virus in other ways. So what we've developed is a cloud-based solution that allows you to interface using your own cell phone, and they just take your temperature reading, record it. And the idea with that is, as we start rolling it out, we're hoping to equip and allow more businesses to operate, because they'll be able to show they've got a means of controlling and reporting who's visiting their site. So that's really what we're doing at the moment.
Great, fantastic. Thanks, Brian. Trevor, yeah.
Well, I think that's a fantastic, it comes in the version of an app, is it, Brian?
It's fully cloud-based. We don't want to actually put it only in an app, because it means someone has to download it. So it'll just literally be a URL and cloud-based access. Our existing clients like BMW are sending it out with their each of their booking notifications, and just saying to their clients, your car's booked in for tomorrow, go here, pre-register, and then it'll be a lot quicker, so that they just have to take the temperature and allocate it.
I haven't got a clue what the hell you're talking about. That's why Ivan will come on board afterwards. He handles everything tech for us, and so you will connect the dots. But just for your input, I'm the CEO of the Chamber, only because I said I wouldn't come on board if I wasn't the CEO, and Jasper gave me the opportunity to do this. So I just want you to know I have no ego at all. And if you believe in that, you'll believe any other lie that everyone tells you. But I'm really an old boy strategist. I have put a couple of businesses together, Academy of Learning, largest education franchise in the country, sold it out to a listed company back in the 1980s. Developed an investment fund called the Protected Investment Fund, total transaction value there, 2.1 billion, before the receiver actually wanted us out of the game. So we shut that down. We built it so simple with 8,000 odd distributors in the publishing game. I set up the Loan Community Initiative, which is now well over R1 billion. What else can we do? We don't know too much, but we actually do a hell of a lot, Brian. So, and so we've got experience in business. I've sat on and advised 12 odd listed companies. And we've all come together here. And I mean, you know, there are quality people with quality projects and ideas. And I think the thing that differentiates the group of people who believe in each other here at the Chamber is those who talk versus those who do. You'll hear about projects that we've launched during lockdown, and I'm excited about your project because I think that's big. I mean, my wife, she heads up the finances of an ophthalmology practice, and you cannot believe the fear they have for COVID and the mechanisms to get through just into that environment, and your solution there sounds phenomenal. So I think this is a countrywide solution. but I want to see if we can steal it from you. That guy down on my screen there, Trevor Kettler, he normally likes to take all the ideas away. He claims 95% of everything, and we share the other 5%. But nice to have you on board, because we're going to talk some ideas here. Ivan, now you've got to explain what I don't understand about what it is that Brian does.
Great, thanks. Thanks, Trevor. I see we've got Jeffrey connecting with us as well, but we'll give him a moment to get on board. So, Brian, yeah, you made the point that I hadn't introduced myself properly, so thank you for that. And yeah, so Ivan Anderson, also one of the founders of the Chamber. Also have my own IT business. I've been in that game for 30 years, specializing in customized ERP solutions. So have a bit of technical background on that side, and also have a pretty good understanding of business and business processes and the like. Also a partner with Trevor and our CEO Lee Harrison in a business called Wisdoms. That's an education and training business. And currently we have a weekday morning session called Wisdom's Chats from 8 o'clock to 8:30 every weekday morning, which is open to anybody and everybody who wants to join in and just meet with like-minded people exploring great ideas and concepts and stories. So, you know, very positive environment that we've got running there. And then I think Dawn touched on the virtual trade fair, which is a project that is spun out of the Chamber, which I'm sure we'll get into in a bit more detail. But that's a concept that we put together straight after, or as lockdown started, we came together and said, how do we put something in place to help our members and other businesses around. Initially it was thinking around the country, but now it's going around the world, so that's fantastic. And so the virtual trade fair is going to be launched. Its inaugural event is planned for the 19th of June to the 22nd of June. And we're looking for exhibitors and guests, as I say, from all over. So we've been engaging with international networking groups, and we've got some great interest from Ghana and the UK and Australia and Bali and a couple of other places. So we're connecting all over the show on that particular environment. And as I say, we can dig into it in a bit more detail in a moment or two. So I think in a nutshell, that's who I am, Brian. I hope that helps and then gets us all sort of formally introduced and the like. So Jeffrey, yeah, morning to you. You came on a bit late, but not a problem. If you'd just like to unmute and just introduce yourself and what you do, and then we'll get across to, I see Peter's also coming on board, which is great. So Jeffrey, let's come to you.
Yes, good morning, everyone. How are we? Okay, right. Trevor's nodding, so I'm assuming it's working. I actually left the microphone up. Yes, well, look, at the end of the day, I'm a videographer and editor, and I create social media video productions. And yeah, recently, obviously, business is like non-existent, as I'm sure it is for so many people out there. So I've actually put together an association now with a friend of mine, and we're actually creating sanitizer stands, which is a stainless steel sanitizer stand, which obviously gets put at the entrance of somewhere, so you can actually just put your foot on a pedal, and then your bottle of sanitizer gets squished out. So, and then also as well, we've developed a foldable face protector. Now, I'm sure you've seen in a lot of the supermarkets, the guys wear these like full masks, almost look like transparent welding goggles. Well, we've actually made one which actually rolls up. So, yeah, I'm busy sort of marketing that. If there's I've made a little video of it, because obviously that's what I do. So if there's a way I can distribute it amongst people, that would be great. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Jeffrey. Okay, Peter, good morning to you. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Morning, everyone.
Hey, Peter. Yeah, please go ahead, Peter. Your sound is not great. Yeah, your sound is breaking up a little bit, but we'll see if we can hear you. So yeah, please.
Can you give me 5 minutes? I'll move to a better area.
Okay, all right. Good, we'll come back to you just now then. Okay, so I think that's a quick introduction. So Trevor, Nell, let's go back to you and let's start digging into some of the businesses that are with us this morning.
I think Peter wants to move from the north of Sandton through to the south of Johannesburg. That's what he means by moving to a better area. So he's going to use his jet plane to get across there in 5 minutes, I think. Okay, so I think let's just dig a little bit in to what people have been doing during lockdown. You know, a lot of people are turning around and saying, hey, business is dead. You listen to Alex and Dawn and Irene turning around and saying the industry has collapsed, the exhibition industry. And I just want to get across to Trevor. So be prepared, Trevor. Here I'm coming to you. I was listening yesterday to the guys from the United Speaker Bureau. They've got about 450 of the leading speakers out of South Africa on their network. They are fantastic people. And I sent the links to my partners, Lee, CEO of Wisdoms, and Ivan, who does everything technical, systems, processes, etc., as you've heard, behind Wisdoms, just to get a feel of what these guys are doing. Yesterday, for the first time, they had their first, what do we call it, live stream, trying to use Zoom type applications, and they were quite proud of their expertise in jumping onto this technology and talking to a couple of people. And I was quite taken aback with these experts, because right in the middle of their presentation, Trevor, you'll love this, they suddenly turned around and said, you know what, 40 days ago we were the experts, now we know nothing. And they've just turned around and said where they used to go around the world, they were invited to go and talk, and speakers, and it's gone, it's disappeared. They've got no platforms to talk on. So now they're trying to work out, well, what do we do? And it's quite amazing that these guys, who you would have thought were the experts, in the background developing all the technology. And boy, Jeffrey, I must tell you, they've got the loveliest studio production technology you can ever believe. Their presentation, and if you listen to them, they're still stuck in that, oh, it's all about quality. It's the best and finest quality of the whole lot. But they've been so sucked into their own ego that they've forgotten that you've got to have action. And the experts are now no longer experts. They're starting from scratch again, but they want to maintain the quality they used to have, where they were commanding 50 to 100,000 Rand for production. So, Trevor, I think this is an intro into you, where the experts themselves are losing confidence in who they were 40 odd days ago, and they're trying to discover who they're going to be going forward. What's your comment on this, given what you do for people?
Yeah, no, so very interesting. And that really is what's happening around the world, as you say, and even here in South Africa. So where the guys who claim, and they probably are, they're experts in their field, they're expert on the topic, but when it comes to promoting themselves and marketing, that's where they've lost out. So we've noticed here that the experts, they're still doing very well in this country, the speakers. And what they're doing, they're creating podcasts and they're creating platforms. And a lot of the people that I've worked with to become experts, they're absolutely flying. I was talking to one yesterday. She's getting quite a lot of work around the country. Ivan, you brought up the question, you know, what are we doing? What's happening? So, I mean, just not yesterday, the day before, I got a fantastic inquiry from the UK to do a huge training presentation. Big money involved. So there are things happening if people can promote themselves, if they can market themselves. And that's why I was saying earlier, you know, how to get from effector to expert. And the experts are the ones that are holding on to their careers. They might be tweaking it a little bit, which you have to do because that's how things are working. So like Dawn with your exhibitions, you know, what can you do differently with exhibitions? So the the foot market is not there, but there is a market. People are looking at buying things. And, you know, if we can come up with promoting things like what you are doing, the Chamber's doing with the trade fair, I think that's a brilliant concept. And we need more of those. We need it longer. We need it bigger. It needs to be advertised, needs to get out there. So one's got to stick to what you are doing, not really to deviate. And if you do deviate, don't make a big issue of it. You know, Jeffrey, you were talking a little bit earlier as well. I think this market is so huge for you at the moment because everybody needs to promote themselves in a different way. One's got to get onto social media a lot more. One's got to make movies. One's got to get involved in podcasts. And those platforms are open. So we need to look for those opportunities in our field to be able to promote ourselves as the expert. And I just think that's absolutely huge at the moment. There's plenty of work around the world. And Trevor, you mentioned it, that our market is no longer just in Fourways or Sandton or Johannesburg. I've noticed as well that I'm talking to a lot more people from overseas. I was talking to one of the top speakers yesterday from America. And we're looking at doing things together. Had it not been for lockdown, it wouldn't have happened. So there are huge opportunities that we need to look for, which I think is vitally important. And we can all do it. You know, get down, create your expertise. I've always been saying, write a book, because that gives you so much credibility. And it doesn't matter what you do. You know, Pierre, you can write a book on balustrades. I mean, there's no book around. Bar for the fact that anyone's going to read it, it makes no difference. But you've got a book, you're an author, and that's all that people look for. Over the lockdown, I've written another book now, my third book. And that's what one has to do, is how do you build your credibility in the marketplace? So all I'm saying, guys, is just don't deviate what you're doing. Just look for different ways of doing it. That's all that I really need to say.
And Trevor, I think that's the point that I'm coming across, that and I'm talking to guys in the States, in the UK, here locally, and you get in the understanding that these people are all panicking. They're not actually concentrating on what made them great prior to lockdown, and then turn around and saying, well, all that's missing is the communication channel, which has come to us. Now, we've been so blooming busy in our own networking here locally that, and I'm talking for myself at 65 years of age, there's no way I can pick up a cell. I can't even switch it on. I need my 11-year-old granddaughter to interpret why this thing is dinging here. Why is it dinging, Ivan? And you're not my 11-year-old granddaughter, but I'm saying, so
I was getting a bit confused there. You know, I'm not too sure whether you were referring to me as your 11-year-old granddaughter, but
yeah, okay. And you're easily confused. I know that. Yeah. So,
especially when it comes to you, yeah.
Yes, I know. And so, the interesting thing is how people we would think should be holding on to everything and leading people around the world are absolutely panicking and floundering, and that gives all of us an opportunity. And the one other thing that I want to say, I don't think the opportunity is about operating as an individual. I think it is about, there is so much opportunity out there. We now need to collaborate with a good number of people to turn around and say, okay, Trevor, if you're working on that, why don't you work with 3 or 4 other people here, come together and you go out to the marketplace. Just before we came on board, I was talking exactly that to Mark Jarrett in the UK, who's part of, who's our sponsor, Majestic, what's his name?
Never Ending Networking, yeah.
That's right, okay. And Scott Kundle, that's the name that I'm wanting to get there. And turned around and said, well, look, you know, we operate in rands here, but we're a lot smarter than you guys in the UK. So what we'll do is we'll triple our price in rands and we will tap into your virtual power network. I see Brian got that. But we will actually generate consulting fee from all these people who are panicking in the UK, Europe, overseas, and we'll get pound sterling, we'll get euro, we'll get dollars, But we can be banking income just from the things that we do as South Africans. I mean, these guys have never traveled through Pilanesberg. They don't understand what it is that we actually do to actually build operations like this and to maintain them. We have got huge skills. And when a South African goes overseas, we're the highest paid individuals you can possibly have. And now they can't stop us, because we're using this technology where they might have been blasé about it. So, Trevor, you know, I'm trying to appeal to everyone here: collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. Find ways to do deals now. And for me, one of the most exciting platforms is this virtual trade fair, and we'll probably come back to that later and perhaps discuss. If you're talking about it as being exciting, you've got to be on there right now, and we've got to be collaborating together. And on Monday morning, I want to see this whole group on that blooming fair talking about it, because that will attract all the people we want to connect with. Now I'm getting cross now.
Yeah, Trevor, no, you're quite right. So you can only collaborate if you've got connections. And at this stage, what we need to do is start finding those connections. And not only locally, one's got to do it internationally. That's our market now. That's where you have to focus. It's so important to collaborate once you've got those people. But people have got to get to know who you are.
Great, thanks, Trevor and Trevor. So thanks for that. I've just popped something into the chat box, but it only went to one Trevor, so I'll put it into everybody shortly. So trying to type and manage things as we go. But let's pop across to Peter. He says he's back online now, and then just hear from Peter. I see Helen's also joined us, which is fantastic. So let's just bring them into the discussion, and then we can pick up on where Trevor was heading shortly. So Peter, if you're with us.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you loud and clear.
Fantastic. I think, yeah, it's, you know, I've been building something that can be resilient to a situation like Corona. So for me, it's just been continued building, whether it's, I've had Etienne come onto the project. He's actually now been able to get mobile and come and actually start planting hibiscus. You know, I've been sorting out various online strategies as well, ranging from, you know, YouTube live streams of educational content. I've also been engaging with the team from Cambridge over in America, who've been helping me consolidate my business plan. So there's always something to do when you're prepared to be able to take advantage of the opportunity. So I think that, you know, what Trevor was saying was, you know, exactly that is that one of the things that we can have in our advantage is, even when we have maybe seemingly more challenging circumstances, well, maybe that because enables us to become stronger and more creative with solutions that other countries just don't think of. So yeah, I think it's fantastic, and looking forward to sorting out some important issues going forward, and a clear path for the rest of the year.
Great, thanks, Peter. Yeah, we'll definitely dig into some of those elements shortly, I'm sure. So let's welcome Helen on board. Helen, good morning. Maybe you'd just like to just say hi, introduce yourself quickly, and just tell us a bit about your business, so everybody knows what you're doing.
Hi all. I'm new to this particular part of what Ivan and Trevor have got going. So I've got I have to call it a media platform now, because it used to be a magazine, and as you know, magazines are a thing of the past. So I have to reinvent how people read the information that I've got and I'm putting out into the world, how my advertisers, and that's where I get the revenue, how my advertisers get more eyes. Traditionally, magazines, they get passed on. I get a lot of mentions from my readers that they always saw my magazine. So we business to business for supermarket retail, been going for 65 years. So we are well known and well liked, but things have changed, and they've changed so radically and so quickly. But blessings, we started our move to digital already 3 years ago. We stopped printing a year ago. We still put out a magazine in a magazine format, but I'm feeling that it needs to change, and there's more, and there's a better way of putting my information out there and getting eyes onto my advertisers' products. So that's what I'm thinking right now. As far as lockdown, it has been slower, obviously, but we've been slow for like 2 years in South Africa. It has been surprising as well. I've had people phoning in rather than me phoning them, which is a great turnaround. Yeah, so it's change and agility and moving quick enough and innovating rather than adopting. I think maybe that's a good way of thinking of it.
Great, thanks, thanks, Helen. Guy, welcome on board. Maybe you just want to introduce yourself quickly and also just chat about perhaps how you've done since lockdown started.
Morning, all. 22 years I coached business owners to reposition their businesses for better results. Lockdown, yeah, I've gone through a number of different emotions. The bottom line is the opportunities to actually redesign oneself in terms of the new reality of communicating online and becoming more au fait with it, and looking at different ways to promote one's products, my services, etc. So thank you. And I did mention to Ivan I would be late. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's just not acceptable, Guy. You must get here on time in future. You know, we start these meetings at 9 o'clock, 9:30 for a very specific reason. Yeah.
Busy being busy. I was on another Zoom. It's my third Zoom since 7:30.
An opening bat who arrives at the crease late, you know what happens. Huh?
Yeah, the first ball is a bouncer. The second ball is a bouncer. The whole, in my day, you're allowed to bowl 6 bouncers in over.
You know what? If I may, just a quick one, Guy. I think we first met you at our physical networking, probably just before Christmas or around the beginning of the year.
Yeah, February.
Was it February? And I mean, time flies, huh? It flies even faster in lockdown when you're going flat out. But the Guy Danes that I first met and the Guy Danes that is sitting here in front of me at the moment are two completely different people. So what happened to this? Did the aliens come down, or did you fire the other guy? What's happened to you? Just give us a 60-second, what's been the aha for you?
Well, Trevor, as I've said back in the day, takes a long time for me to try and establish trust. So maybe that good old saying, Johari's window. So I suppose as we build better, quicker and deeper relationships, both ways, we start to understand how each other's thinking. And yeah, so I suppose that that is maybe had others seen me in a different light. Whether that's good or bad or indifferent, but yeah. Look, if it wasn't for joining the FCC and those new people, I suppose I wouldn't be here where I am now with this sort of mindset. So I do respect the forum, the platform, etc. Yeah. So
okay, so all right, that's fine. You know, an opening batsman. He'll just block you the whole way. So I'm going to cut him short here. But Ivan, if we can just send out an apology letter to everyone that met with Guy Danes in the first 2 months and tell them that we've got a much better model today, they can start communicating with. But I've been blown away. I've looked at his content. I've looked at LinkedIn. This is a completely different guy, I must say. So I think that's exciting because I think what you can bring to other people that need to be growing, and what I'm hearing from you is maybe you were the cynical one coming in at first, and I wonder if lack of trust happens because you don't trust other people and they actually see it, and now you've got to learn that one or two of these people are actually not bad people here.
Without a doubt, it's me trusting other people because I've been stuffed over so many times and I've got grey hair. So yeah, without a doubt, it's with me trusting other people. But yeah, this sort of forum, it's good old Trevor Kettler there going, cha-cha-cha, hello, Trevor.
I was just going to say, I've known you for what, over 30 years, and my goodness, the picture has changed.
Oh, really? Yeah. So it wasn't just so we've had an impact on the boy, or was it you? No, Trevor, you obviously didn't have an impact if you knew him for 30 years. We've known him for a couple of months, and now he's changed.
I think I was the one that gave him the grey hair.
Oh, is it? Okay. All right. Sorry, Ivan.
Let's move on. Let's move on to Peter Brown or Dawn or whatever.
Yeah, I think when we start talking about these old guys' hairstyles, we're getting into really serious territory. I mean, it's a bit worrying. It's a bit worrying when we got lockdown fever and we start talking about male hairstyles. I think so. Let's get back to some serious business here. Okay, so yeah, I think Brian, let's come back to you. I want to dig down a little bit more into what you're doing and what you're looking for specifically. You know, what do you need?
So before I take any of the limelight, I was just in my notes. I haven't got anything from Peter Brown yet. So I don't think
Peter was on a moment ago. But
I see him in the thing, but no. Firstly, it's a huge privilege for me to visit you guys, and I don't want to come in here and steal the limelight. My idea is, you know, I'm a business owner. And I go back a number of years. We've both been chopping down lots of trees together. But besides that, we've never had business crossover. So it's lovely to see that there's something that we can find a common platform in this ground. But I agree with everything that I've been hearing this morning. It's very important that we all look from a business points of view as to how do we pivot our business? How do we not just see the problem, but look at the solutions? Because myself in the IT market, I felt a bit like an animal sitting in the migration, a lion, watching the animals running past, and I couldn't grab one. I didn't, all these opportunities were just running past me. And I think that's the biggest challenge is there are opportunities out there. They're everywhere. And, with combined and community involvements, like what you were talking about earlier, Trevor, being able to make sure we involve the experts to help us to see these opportunities and how do we actually make use of them. Because there's new opportunities for every one of us. We just need to be able to adapt to how do we actually captivate it, how do we use it, how do we consume it, how do we participate, and also, very importantly, how do we share it? How do we share it with each other and the communities around us? Because I think today it is not around individual businesses being hugely successful. Our mindset, our modus operandi, our ethos needs to be around more community-based. It needs to be about how do we build each other, and in that process, we'll build ourselves. And I think that ties in exactly what Trevor Kettler was saying earlier about us actually building together and actually being part of something greater. Obviously, from an IT point of view, we are a small business. We've been doing bespoke IT solutions for certain companies like BMW and Mercedes. We've had the privilege of being able to provide our services. We've always had a community project, and our biggest community project at the moment has been towards Sandparks Honorary Rangers, mainly because the Northwest Parks were busy with their own thing. And so we're very involved in the Honorary Rangers in providing them technologies and things. And it's been a nice development platform because a lot of the ideas that we've been developing for them, we're now able to use as a toolkit and deploy everywhere else. And obviously this little thing that we're doing right now to try and help businesses get operational as quickly as possible. Because the biggest thing is we've got to be able to show government that we have a way of protecting people that are interfacing with us. And if what we can do is help you to get operational quicker, that is, then it's a win-win. In addition to that, we're making sure that the projected costs for each site are stupidly low, but at the same time, we want to make sure that the revenues that come off of that fund and support feeding schemes to those who can't work. So we're tying back into some of the bigger feeding schemes, but not politically based ones, not ones that are BE compliant. I want to make sure that the guys who benefit from basic food are those who can't get back into business. Because, you know, we around this table today, I think are you know, still highly privileged. Yes, we've got problems with catering, problems that we're covering, but how many of us know of people that have no food on the table right now, that really are battling? And as we need to put together ways that protect them and defend them and help them to also come to the party and likewise start developing more and participate. So that's really what our little solution is intended to do. It's intended to let businesses log and record everyone who visits their site, take temperatures of it. It allows the medical doctors to come in and use it to warn anybody who may have been exposed, but it's not going to be open to politicians. It's not going to be shared data between businesses. I can't see who's visited your site. You can't see who's visited mine, but it will let me see who has visited mine, and I can share with them pro-COVID-19 activities that I'm doing. What am I adding value to help them with? So then it'll add a couple of things around metadata and things like that. So obviously we engaged with our current client base that we're getting it out to, but we also, and that's really why I'm coming here today, to see who can I communicate with, how can we benefit each other in a bigger picture, and where can we add value to each other.
Okay, great. Thanks.
I'm not here to sell what we currently do. I'm here to see how we can add value.
Fantastic, Brian. I think that gives us a great insight into you and your business. Trivanel, you want to comment?
Yeah, there are two things that I want to get to here. I'm just reminded at something that you actually said right in the beginning of a conversation that I had with this guy in the UK. This guy who came across there and someone said, I love networking. And I might have actually said this earlier on, but I think what we've all got to get to is be very careful that we're not just networking at this particular time just to see what happens. It's networking for a purpose, and we get down to understand what is the purpose of the other individual. So I had a quick look at Brian's site there, CVS, just to have a look at it. Brian, do you head up that team? Are you driving it?
I'm the CEO of the business, and I've sent you a copy of my digital business card because it'll give you access to my Facebook page. It gives you access to my LinkedIn. To me, part of the whole thing in life now, we have to be transparent as to who we are, what we're about. I appreciate what you were saying earlier, Guy. Trust, and that's built over time. You only really trust someone once you spent like 900 hours with them in the, to actually fully, and that takes you to the point where you will market aggressively for each other. I've only been here for a few minutes. I don't expect you guys to know me, trust me, understand me. Trevor knows me a bit longer. And yes, so we would have a different trust level. But trust is built over time, and it's built by knowing people. But what I would like to do and encourage you guys, you've all got my email. Please send me your detail. And for the privilege of tolerating me now, I will give you all your own free digital business card, so that you can in turn send that out. But if send me the detail that's required. You've got my detail on there, and then I will in turn load a digital business card for you, and you'll be able to also at least operate like you would have, but not with paper. Yeah, you will have something that you can use.
I want to explore a little bit about yourself, Brian, just as we can get into your business prior to lockdown.
Yes.
How many businesses were you connecting with on your database, etc., at that particular time? And just having a quick look at your site, did you have the ability to actually take your operation to listing potential, or is it a small to medium size operation?
We're a micro enterprise. We typically not a BE business. We don't do work in any BE markets. Most of my staff are Afrikaans youngsters. And before and leading up to lockdown, the political situation resulted in quite a few of my staff moving around the world, my partners. So I have one partner who's Cyprus-based, one partner who's London-based, and I'm the third partner. So my London-based partner is about 35 years old, I think, give or take a year or so. He moved over to London because his wife worked for a large legal firm, and she was offered a position in London. So he's actually over there as a house husband. He can't get a work permit, and it's ideal for me because now I've had him in lockdown for the last couple of months. He heads up a lot of the developments in new technologies. My other business partner, yes, sorry, Trevor?
Well, okay, we'll get to where your partners are. I tell you what, and so my purpose in asking this question here, Brian, is, as Ivan actually said, what's on your wish list? So we've all had an epiphany, I believe, from the beginning of lockdown to now, okay? So what is really on your wish list right now? What would make your year out of this group of individuals if they could come up with this for you? What's that wish, 1, 2, or 3?
I think the main thing for me right now is to get this new solution that we've got out to as many businesses as possible, because that way we'll be able to help as many people as possible.
So what's required?
It's, well, we basically, I need your details and I'll send you the URL to, the idea is that with the system, every individual logs on as a potential visitor. So you might be visiting sites. And then from there, if you've got your own business, you can register your business. But it starts with just individuals registering on the system. And you'll start seeing these even at the Pick and Pays, because I'm talking to them, that they're going to start putting QR barcodes up as you visit. So you'll clock in with your phone to try and stop us using pens and paper.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to focus on all our other business solutions. I think those will come out. But right now, to help the general masses with the COVID-19 management platform, to help protect business and let them operate. And that's really what I'm trying to do.
So, Brian, I'm not as nice as I look here over the screen, okay? And I'm not the nice Trevor Kettler here that's into building parks and building society and all that. The only question I want to know is what's in it for me to actually get you to where you want to be.
Okay, the first thing is obviously it will help us individually to protect us from exposure ourselves. So the more that you register, the more people that register, the less they have to interact with paper. And so for me, it protects me. It protects me also from a point that if I'm exposed at any shop that I go to, I will get a warning to say, hang on, when I was at Pick and Pay yesterday, there was a guy who's now detected, please go for a checkup. So
that's one, but you haven't got to the answer that I want, but keep going.
Okay. Financially, we're not trying to do this project as a huge financial exercise.
All right.
So financially, we're not going to be enriched. We're going to make sure the costs of the project are undertaken, but we want to channel the majority of the funds to the feeding schemes.
So my interpretation is there's no real money in this. We've got to find another way to actually collaborate with you to all get a mutual benefit. That's what you're telling us.
There's other projects that we do and we'll spin off, and as we find businesses that we can help them with technologies, and there we have financial packages and processes where we tie in other businesses and we work in collaboration. So for instance, I might include Trevor in a project and he would be involved in the project management or the strategies, and not only would he earn revenue off that, but where he brings the project, he would get revenues off the overall project. So we've got those structures in place.
For everyone else, why I'm pushing Brian here as a first timer here, having had a look at his site and having had a look at the expertise of the individuals there, and knowing that a group of people here in 21 days developed the virtual trade fair .Africa from squat to where it is today. We need an individual like Brian to go, if he wants us, I want him to go to Virtual Trade Fair Africa and give us the criticism, critique, what he and his team can do, because I can see a massive mutual benefit between his operation, and obviously everyone's here, but I'm working on this newbie here that presents some new insights and will hopefully, and it looks too nice to me. So my problem is that he will come back to us and say, oh, well, look, this, you know, just make the rubbish, man, just fix this up, because we don't have time to mess around here. I'd love you to go to Virtual Trade Fair Africa. I'd love all the people who are going to be promoters to get that business card you were talking about. Let's follow through on that. And then our mutual response is to get out there and try and promote what it is that you're doing for the good of community. And you would have noticed there behind Ivan's head that we are the Community Chamber of Commerce, okay? So that's where the link is for you. But again, let me shut up. I'm excited about people like this that come on board.
As I say, a very unique opportunity for me to visit you today, and I'm very privileged. I really appreciate you giving me time. But you know, our priority firstly is to help, is to make sure we protect the individuals. But our second priority is to help businesses that can't function right now to get operational as quickly as they can. Because to me, that is the answer. We've got to get the economy moving again. And if I can't operate because people are going to be visiting my site, well, guess what? There's this tool that you can use at a nominal fee that will record everyone who's there, and we can prove to government that we haven't exposed them. And if anyone has by chance been exposed, it'll allow us to get hold of those people and warn them very quickly. So I think, you know, changing the way government's trying to just lock us all down, I'm saying we need to be released on a different way of operating. And if we can be part of that.
But he's upsetting me, Ivan, because each time he talks a little bit more, I want to say some more. And the only thing I'm going to turn around here and add to that is the Virtual Trade Fair Africa, out of these exhibition specialists, have recognized that the world of the physical is not going to disappear. And that virtual is not going to be the be all and end all. And what we're looking to do is have a blended approach, which I think is unique. And you almost touched on that for me, Brian, as to how we can bring you in to give the market the trust that we're not looking to eradicate any industry. We're looking to blend this approach to bringing the consumers back into business, whether it be physical or whether it be virtual, combine the two.
That's correct, yes. And also at the same time, give the dignity back to those that feel that they've lost everything. Because
I'm not interested in dignity. You look after the dignity with Trevor Kettler and Helen. Well, you know what?
Trevor and I will discuss this in long term after this. I'm sure we'll be on the phone together shortly.
Right now, I'm deliberately muting myself and taking myself offline.
Okay, I hope I've answered the general questions, and I hope you know, if there's any specific stuff, you've got my detail there. Please, I'm available to chat. If I can help you individually, that's our goal at this stage. I want to help businesses to get operational as quickly and effectively as possible.
Fantastic. Thanks, Brian. I really appreciate those insights and that discussion. I think it was valuable for everybody. So great. Let's move on a little bit. Brian, you said you felt you didn't really hear from Peter, but Peter did sort of chat very briefly about what he does. But Peter, let's come back to you and dig in a bit deeper about what you're doing physically on the ground, because I think it actually ties back in some ways to what's been discussed with Brian at the moment anyway. So I'd really like to pick up from you there and hear about what you're doing and how you're going about it, and what's changed for you and how you see it moving forward.
Yeah, I was very excited to, you know, with what Brian was sharing. I think that there's a lot of synergies in terms of tapping into both business models. You know, really where I've been engaged with Cambridge is really, we decided that the best strategy to actually grow the business without massive capital input is around a land linking strategy to create an online portal that links the landowner within the agripreneur, and then provide a support mechanism that actually, from an education point of view, online content, bringing in education partners to actually assist the entrepreneur, so that then it lowers the business risk and obviously enables people who have very little in the economy to start and get going, and hopefully also we can minimize defaults on tenant rent. So it's kind of like an Airbnb strategy for the agriculture and farming sector to help people not just with money, but getting basic food, and that's where I think with Brian, his vision on bringing food to people can really take place. So that's been on the longer term strategy. The more immediate strategy has been around I've been doing some, I've managed to, I wouldn't say crack a nut, but get a quite a good approach to shorter term accommodation on the farm, where I can bring in guests and do an arbitrage on the rental market. So not a long-term rental, but day and night visitors, and that then is not necessarily as an expensive build structurally on the assets. So that's really where I see that taking place, and then the next step will be to fix my financial reporting and financial side of things, so that I can actually leverage the business further to show the positive growth that can take place.
Great, thanks, Peter. I think that's a great overview of what you're about. And just for those who don't know, Peter's an actuarial farmer, so he's got a good background in numbers and business, and only recently gone into farming over the past few years. But I'd like to come across to Jasper, because I think this ties in, Jasper, with the gig side of things and the bank. So let's dig into that a bit more. And
okay, thanks, Ivan. I think the vision that we have for the chamber is almost to become this one-stop place where we have the skills that was nurtured over many years from various disciplines. But one of the missing links is in the new economy is you need to own your own funding mechanisms. And the banks, I think they're on their way out, banks as we know it. So I was fortunate many years ago to become acquainted with a new form of banking called cooperative banking. The act was only signed into law in 2007. And there's not a lot of information around it in South Africa, or it wasn't. And of the 2,000 plus people who tried to crack the code on that community banking model, there's currently only 28 registered CFIs. And a CFI stands for Cooperative Financial Institution, which is basically another word for a community bank. And we managed then to get a national license. So today, in 2015, and today we are registered with the Reserve Bank under the Cooperatives Bank Act. And that's now available. So every member of the chamber, when you become a member at any level, the 250, the 500, the 1,000 Rand, you automatically become part of this community bank. Now, our vision within the chamber, so this bank already exists. We operate with sophisticated bank platforms. So we can now develop our own products and services. So when it can be customized down to the level of a church who wants to have a project in a local community, or a stokvel, or even a large family who says, let's pull together. Now, the critical number in a community bank is 200, and they, listen, we just have two communications going on here simultaneously. Let me just try. Let me just try and sit outside elsewhere. So I'm now sitting outside my office. The critical number in a community bank, so you have to comply with all the rules so that eventually the depositor's money is protected or guaranteed by the Reserve Bank. There's some very onerous controls and mechanisms in place. Now, fortunately, we've gone through all that regulatory pain. It's all in place now. And through that basic community bank, we can now accommodate even sub-communities, whether they're a church, a stokvel, or a group of SMMEs who wants to band it together. But in the chamber, where our vision is, we already have access to normal bank products like call account and some normal products, but we also have sophisticated products, and two of the sophisticated products, the one is called a loan link share, or it's an interest-free kind of loan, where whatever you deposit in your own bank account, after 12 months of savings, you can leverage against it up to 3 times, and you can borrow. If you have 1,000, you can borrow 3,000. If another person has got 10, you can borrow up to 30, and so forth. There are obviously checks and balances in it, but it becomes a self-managed funding facility so that a small entrepreneur or an entrepreneur can then decide what does he want to do with this interest-free money, and with that money, you can buy stock, you can buy equipment, and ultimately, you can buy property. There's a second way that you can leverage of it, that after your first loan is repaid over 12 months, subsequent loans are then repaid over the period that you've been a member of the chamber. So if you've been a member over 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, up to 7 years, your repayment can be structured over that period. Now, what it means for you is you can then handle large amounts of capital commitments, but because it's structured over 7 years, and let's say you buy property, the repayment over 7 years, interest-free, would be the same as if you have bonded that property over 20 years with a commercial bank. So that's the power of that interest-free loan. And that's how we will create wealth for people. So it's not an overnight process, but we will have to start building the trust. Now, fortunately, it's not a concept, it's already going. We've already got 450 active members in the project. And for the last 3 years, we were the only CFI that in terms of bad debt ratio, our bad debt ratio was 0, where other CFIs struggle to get their bad debt ratio under 5%. So then the last project is then our investor club. So people can then activate their account for 2,000 Rand. It operates like a loan link share, a 32-day call account is your money, but it makes you visible to the rest of the group. And then through the forums that we have right in front of us and other forums, people come up with then business ideas and property ideas, and we then select the best of the best, and we take it back to our investors club, and people can then participate and co-own in other people's businesses and property. Ivan, I just have to go back now. My battery is going flat, so I have to connect, and I have to mute because my wife is in a serious discussion. We have a huge problem with UIF. It's such a mess to sort out. So I'm going to mute now, but you guys can talk, and then if need be, I can just come in to answer some questions.
Great, thanks, Jasper. Appreciate that. Okay, so I think that it touches on elements of what the CFI can actually do for groups of like-minded individuals, and the chamber is leveraging that through what Jasper and Gig have developed over the last number of years. So it's a fantastic opportunity. I think one of the things that he didn't perhaps mention, which I think is worth mentioning, the CFI is one of, I think, only 2 or perhaps 3 CFIs that actually have a national license. Most CFIs only have local operating licenses, and they're bound to very specific communities. They've done all the groundwork and the paperwork and the accreditation to ensure that they can actually operate nationally, which I think is also a massive benefit.
Yeah, I think important, if I can just come in again. So far we've developed these 4 products, and they're already very exciting for our current membership. But where we want to go with this is the need in the market for SMMEs. And once we have, first of all, more than 100 chamber members, we can start developing further unique products, funding products, because we have the banking platform in place, but it requires that momentum of more than 100 people in the chamber. Then the second thing where we're working towards, once the total membership of the bank is past 1,000 members, we will become the first cooperative bank in South Africa with a national license. And why this is critical, I think that with what Trevor also said earlier, the world is starting to look at Africa for its resources, and they want to invest in Africa, but they don't want to do it through the commercial banks, because commercial banks have no value behind them, whereas cooperative banks is on a one-to-one ratio with the money of depositors versus, so the risk in a cooperative bank is extremely low. But currently they can't operate in South Africa because there is no cooperative bank with a national license. Once we have that, the world will queue up to use us as a funding mechanism to bring money in for projects on a large scale. So if there's one project that I want to really encourage all of us to work together, is let's do whatever it can to build up the membership of the chamber so that we can get to that point of becoming the first cooperative bank in South Africa.
Right, thanks, Jasper. Okay, how are we doing for time, folks? We still got 23 minutes, so let's dig into a few other things. So, Helen, I'd like to come across to you, also being new on the forum, and maybe just dig into some of the thoughts that you may have had given on the discussions that have been on the table so far.
Just hold on. Hi, sorry, Ivan, just repeat, please. My phone was ringing.
No problem at all. I'd just like to come across to you because I think you've obviously got some commonality in thinking in some of the ideas and concepts that have been discussed. I'd just love to hear your thoughts on what you've heard so far.
So my feeling is this is a very powerful platform that can uplift many people by working together. I think this is more a new way of being. It's not about the individual, it's about the community. And I mean, there's work. You guys have done amazing things in 21 days with the virtual trade fair. Now it's just about refinement and getting the people in. Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks. Let's come across to Dawn and Alex and chat a bit more about the trade fair. We sort of touched on it a couple of times in the discussion this morning, but perhaps we must just dig into it in the last sort of 20 minutes or so and get some additional insight into where we're taking this, where we see it going. Dawn, how it's helping your industry and just mindset change and the like. So.
Yeah, thanks, Ivan. Just want to say to Trevor Kettler, if he can register as a guest speaker on our platform, the Virtual Trade Fair has a guest speaker slot. Have you already registered? And you must know many other people that can register as a guest speaker. It's a free opportunity to promote your business. So, it's quite a gift. So, yeah, the Virtual Trade Fair is giving all businesses which really have no platform right now the opportunity to put across their services and products. It is not only based locally, it's international. It's any time of the day, anywhere in the world, you can come and visit the expo. It's very reasonably priced. Not only our industry that's come to a grinding halt, we've got people being promoters in our industry. We've got other organizers that are also looking into this because their platform now is destroyed. A lot of our exhibitions are not happening. So we're also offering it to organizers who do individual specialized industries. So they can either come on as their own company to promote their shows, or they can have a separate platform to do their actual exhibitions as well. So giving them the opportunity. This is just the beginning. This virtual trade fair that we're doing in June is just the beginning. So from here, it's going to expand. There's no limitations now. As we did mention, it won't replace the physical expo, which will definitely have its place, but the virtual trade show has got enormous potential. We also then have a promoters opportunity for people who know of other industries or companies that need a platform. They can encourage them to come and participate at the trade fair, and they can earn a commission basis. So we're also creating jobs for other people who are at a loss. Alex, maybe you want to run a bit with it?
Yeah, so it's a great opportunity for people who don't actually have a voice right now to get out there and are at a loss for what direction to take. I'm more involved on the 3D side, so actually making the virtual stands, and then helping people dress those so they actually look appealing to the visitors that come past, and helping connect those all up to the collateral and the digital assets then from a graphical perspective.
Great, thanks. Yeah, so I think maybe just to dive into it a bit deeper, most of the folk I think have heard about it in this forum, but let me just go over it again very quickly, just as a reminder. So in essence, what we've got is 2 packages at this point in time for exhibitors. The first package is on early bird special at 7,500 Rand. That gives you, the full access into the virtual trade fair as an exhibitor for the 4 days from the 19th to the 22nd of June. It gives you, as Alex mentioned, a fully enabled 3D rendered exhibitor stand with what we call hot buttons or clickable elements on the stand where you can actually have your key products and services. You can have links to YouTube, links back to your social media environments, your documentation, brochures, articles, anything that you might want people to have access to. It also gives you a 12-month basic membership at the chamber as part of that particular deal. So it brings you into this fold as well for, on 12 months as an additional add-on value. That's an additional 2,500 Rands worth of value into that package that you're giving there. And as an exhibitor, you also get 250 free guest invites to distribute to your database. And at full retail value, that's about a 37,500 Rand marketing benefit that we give you as an exhibitor at that entry-level package level. So then we have the second level package, which is a 13.5 on the early bird special. That's 13,500 Rand. So that gives you, again, obviously the full trade fair. It also gives you membership into what we're calling the virtual mall, which is a fully e-commerce enabled multi-vendor website, so that for 12 months post the trade fair, so whatever you've done and developed and put into getting your exhibit up on the trade fair, you can migrate straight across into the virtual mall once the trade fair has completed. And we've also added in there a premium membership into the chamber for 12 months, which is an additional 10,000 Rand benefit. So that trade fair in the virtual mall is virtually costing you nothing in the basis. And you also get your 250 guest invites as part of that bundle as well. So we think we're adding massive value. We're offering massive value into this mix. You get your, as I say, your booth set up, your clickable hotspots, so you can load whatever products and services you want into the trade fair and into the mall. And yeah, this is the pilot. We're looking for input, we're looking for contribution, we're looking for feedback. Nothing's cast in stone with the pilot. We like to call it our MVP, or minimal viable product, as it's going to be a first one for us certainly. And the more the merrier, really, at the end of the day. So get involved. I just encourage everybody to get on board, get involved, and let's make this a real success for businesses across the spectrum in the country. And it's not only in the country, as I mentioned, I think in the beginning, we are talking to people internationally as well, and we've linked up to international networking groups. We've got interest from a number of people in Ghana. We've already got 3 speakers from Ghana. That's the other thing we haven't really mentioned. Dawn did touch on it. We're having speakers for the 4 days of the trade fair, so 32 speakers, one an hour for 8 hours every sort of working hour in the day. Speakers don't have to speak for an hour, Trevor, so you'll be pleased to hear that. You only have to speak for 15 or 30 minutes or whatever suits your particular topic that you want to speak on, and then just be available to have comments and interaction with who's visiting. So we're looking for, again, a wide range of topics and speakers. There's no specific restriction or theme at this point in time. As it is with the trade fair, traditional trade fairs tend to have a vertical theme. We've gone completely horizontal from a business perspective here, so we're not restricting any business type or form here. But having said that, there's obviously going to be strong categorization and tagging within the system, so people will be able to zoom into a specific theme if that's what they want to do, and search within genres of business. But we're really looking to open this as wide as possible to all sorts of businesses across the spectrum. So yeah, I think in essence that's the trade fair in a nutshell. And if anybody would like to ask any other questions or make any comments on that.
So all I can say is, how good is this boy at promoting the virtual trade fair?
Thanks, Trevor. Other Trevor, you wanted to add something in there?
Yeah. How many exhibitors do you have registered at the moment?
We've only got a handful at this stage. We're out there promoting hard at the moment. So yeah, we're really looking to push it over the next 4 to 5 weeks before the actual show itself. So, but it's early days. As I say, we only really started promoting this actively last week. Yeah, it's
and if I can jump in, there's such an interesting question that asked, and I see Guy has asked a similar question there, wanting to know the volume of exhibitors. And the only response I can give back to Guy and maybe Trevor, but I'll go at Guy. Guy, how many runs are you going to make? He's gone.
Sorry, thousands and thousands. Yeah, I've been promoting the link on all my connections. I've got over 700, so I'm getting through about 10 a day, and I'm also promoting it from time to time on my LinkedIn profile. And people I chat to on other Zoom, but I haven't got to know them well enough. So hopefully, come beginning of June, I can be more forceful. But at the end of the day, it's how much promoting is going out through all of us at different channels, because that's all we've got to do. So that
it looked like Trevor's feed is actually frozen, so I think we've lost him for the moment. But that's not serious. I think, Guy, you hit the nail on the head. It's really about us coming together and getting out there and promoting as far and as wide as possible. And so we're certainly busy with that on those different forums. As I say, I put the link into Never Ending Networks onto the chat box. So if you guys pick that up and you're keen to join, there's a WhatsApp group as well as a Zoom facility that operates 24/7. So you can pop into that environment and network internationally, whenever you've got a free moment. So there's no set times and schedules on that one.
Ivan, just let Trevor know that I replied nicely.
Yeah, well, you know how well he listens, so we'll see what happens. There he comes back now. Okay, so we've got one frozen picture room and one picture room reconnecting. But yeah,
Trevor, I replied nicely because you got frozen on your other picture.
And now you're muted on this one, so we can't hear you anyway. So,
all right. So clearly, you hit me for a 6. But did you get my question, Guy?
Yeah, and I replied nicely, also, Ivan. But you were frozen on one other screen. So we're all promoting it as much as we can and where we can.
No, but I think the important point for me, it's quite amazing how many people over the past 2 weeks that we've been talking to, that's their first starting point. Okay, so how many exhibitors have you got? Well, you know what? That's not the correct question. Do you like it? Do you want to get involved? Okay, you're number 1. Now we're going to get number 2. Now we're going to get number 3. Now we're going to get number 4. So this is about patience, persistence, really driving it. But instead of, and so I'm saying this to ourselves as a group, if you are not on there, and that is what you use as your verification message, a method, so here I'm selling Brian a little bit, of getting on board, then get on board now. So that the more people we get on board actually help answer your question positively. And it's about getting the snowball rolling, which is what we're after. Ivan?
I think I'd just like to pick up on that, because one of the key things, obviously there's lead time in terms of people getting set up on the platform. And due to that fact, you know, if we have a rush in the final 2 weeks, it's going to be a madhouse. So what we've actually done is the early bird special only runs to the 5th of June. Remember, the trade fair starts on the 19th. So anybody coming in post the 5th of June will be paying full price, and so that 7.5 goes up to 17.5 for the trade fair and the basic membership, and the full package goes up to 31,000 from 13.5. So there's a big jump, you know, once the early bird special ends, because you know, we're going to be having to get all hands on deck to get people onboarded in time to actually have the fair run if we have a rush in the last 2 weeks prior to the show. So use that as additional motivation to the people that you talk to. You know, they get on now, they get a chance to get the early bird pricing, which is you know, I think is absolutely stunning value. And if they wait too long, it's going to cost them you know, quite a bit extra to get on board, and it's going to be rushed, and you know, perhaps they're not going to be represented the way they want to be represented, because their graphics might not be ready, their stand might not come out quite the way they want it to, because there's effort that's required, much as there is with a normal trade fair. You know, there's preparation, there's process that needs to be followed, there are things that need to be done. It's not just the fact of, hey, you know, I'm here, let's go on the trade fair and we can start tomorrow. Doesn't work that way, as it doesn't work that way in the physical world. So you know, I think it's an opportunity to add a bit of impetus and energy into your promotions, is just get people to understand that that element. All right, folks. Any other final comments? I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me just whip around the group quickly. We've got 8 minutes to the top of the hour. See if we can end off at 11 on the dot. So just a couple of final thoughts and comments from everyone in group. So I'm going to work my way around the screen as it appears to me. So Brian, you're on my top left-hand corner, so I'm going to start with you.
Yes, thank you. It's been great meeting all of you for the first time. Some of you, Trevor, obviously not the first time, but I'd like to make touch base with most of you. If I've got your details, I'll definitely do that. Thank you for those of you that have already sent it through. I see a couple on my email address. And Mr. Kettler, I'll give you a shout later today as per my message. So thanks again. Lovely meeting you all. Hopefully we'll start pioneering new grounds together. Thanks so much. Bye.
Great. Thanks, Brian. Trevor Kettler.
Thanks, Ivan. I think it was a great, interesting meeting this morning. And just really, I think we need to think bigger, think out, and look to collaborate. And how can we make a name for ourselves where people will come to us? I think that's important.
Great, thanks, Trevor. Jesper.
I just want to encourage everyone who's been on this forum and you haven't yet connected with the Chamber as a member. Please go to our site, fccc.co.za, and just get started at any level of membership, because then that gives us the permission to start engaging with you, pull you in on the Chamber Bank, and all the other activities that's available for members. So I would like to move forward with you on that scope. So looking forward to meet some of you later on.
Great, thanks, Jasper. Irene.
All good from my side. Thanks, Ivan. It was good to be on the meeting again. Always interesting facts to hear from everybody. So yes, it was nice meeting everybody, and have a great weekend.
Great, thanks, Irene. Dawn and Alex.
Yeah, it was a good meeting, and I've actually just put a link in the chat now for everyone if they want to have a look. It's a video I just recorded of the virtual stand itself, so you can actually see what it looks like and me explaining what you're actually getting as far as the hotspots are concerned, like I was speaking about earlier, and a representation of the 3D stand. So you can go have a look at that. But yeah, otherwise, good meeting all around. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think a lot of potential for everybody. We just got to tap into each other. And also we have a daily Zoom from Monday to Friday from 12 to 12:30 for the virtual trade fair questions and answers. It'd be great to see you there, and invite anyone else who'd like to come and join us.
Great, thanks, Dawn. Please you picked up on that, and it's the same Zoom link as this meeting. So if you want to join us at 12 o'clock, we'll be back online then as well. So maybe we'll see some of you on that chat also. Pierre, across to you.
Well, thanks everyone. No, nothing for me, but nice meeting you, everyone that just came for the first time.
Great, thanks Pierre. Helen, some final thoughts from your side?
So good meeting. I think just visually and conceptually, possibly this YouTube link that Alex put up now could be on the Trade Fair Africa, so a person could get a visual of what's possible, because from my point of view, visually what's possible, I'm not putting the pieces together. So yeah, maybe that's what I have to say for now. And I've got some ideas about navigation and pop-ups. I went through the site a little bit. I feel that nobody knows what you're selling so far. I don't know how you're going to lay it out. So, like Trevor, I went through to his. There's nothing about him. Like in 50 words, what are you selling? You know what I mean? And Evan, what are you selling? Because you've got your logo, but what is your brand and what is your ethos? So, yeah, what are you selling?
Okay, thanks, Helen. Yeah, great input. Yeah, I think obviously we're busy populating things as we go along, so some of it is incomplete at the moment, as you say. But I think great input there. Thanks very much. I like the idea of having maybe some of those YouTube links more visible on the site, and in terms of explanations and overviews. So yeah, thank you very much for that input. Appreciate it. Jeffrey, let's come across to you.
Yep, there we go. Yeah, guys, great. Nice sort of sitting here. I think we're all kind of sitting here kind of with the, hey, this is our sort of engagement time with people, even though it is electronic. Yeah, so that's great. So look, if I can sort of help in any way as far as sort of creating any sort of video media to promote the platforms, then yeah, you've all got my details. And yes, I'll see if I can send Ivan the link to these sanitization stations, which are really super quality. They're all made out of 304 surgical stainless steel and what have you. So yeah, if you can pass it around, that'll be great. Might try and earn myself a couple of $200 as if I sell one. Anyway, yeah, thanks guys. See you all soon. Well,
great,
speak to you all soon.
Yeah, thanks Jeffrey. I mean, if you can pop those details into the chat box, we do save that, and it's available for people who've been on the sessions as well. So you can put those details into the chat box if you can, and then we've all got them. Guy, let's get some final thoughts from you.
The bottom line is persistence and the message that we're putting out. So we're just going to have persistence and allocate a certain amount of time during the day to go and network and to sell the concept.
Great, thanks, Guy. Trevor, final word from yourself, and then I think we'll wrap up.
Yep. Listen, I've lost all the chat facilities, so I definitely need all those links in that chat facility. So make certain that it's safe, please, Ivan. And then just to turn around to folks and say, you know what, it's talk is no damn good. We actually have to turn around and say, I want to do something with you, you, and you. This is what I want to do, and move it to the point of, I can't do anything, or yes, I can do something. But try and do that quicker than actually taking a long time. Best way to find out how to trust a guy, to see whether he can actually open the bat, is to throw a few balls at him and see if he can hit the ball, and do it quickly, because we haven't got time to mess around. Okay. All right. No, it's a fantastic session, folks.
Great. Thanks, Trevor. And yeah, we exactly on 11 o'clock. So our time management's been good this morning. So fantastic chatting to you all this morning. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you on some of our other sessions soon. Go well.